Hi, I'm Dave Holt, President of RP Management. Today I'm going to talk about three more of the biggest mistakes that landlords make. So first, not screening your tenants. Now I know a lot of landlords that show their properties themselves and they get that feeling about the tenant. Now understand that people are pretty good at hiding things that they don't want to reveal. So just because you get that good feeling about somebody doesn't mean that they're going to be a good tenant. You need to screen your tenants, which means credit. Now credit is just one of the criteria that we use in order to make sure that we're trying to get a good quality tenant. But we don't necessarily deny somebody based on credit alone, because in the housing collapse that we just went through several years ago, there were a lot of good people that got into bad loan situations and got foreclosed on, and bankruptcies happened, and therefore their credit went down. So using credit as the only criteria isn't necessarily a good indicator of whether they're a good tenant for you or not. But some of the other things to consider certainly are criminal records. Now going through and getting information on the criminal activities is very important, and having some of the criteria and knowing what to be looking for with criminal activity is important, because not all criminal activity indicates that they're going to be a bad tenant for you or not. Also, things to be considering: debt to income ratios. Really, the ability to afford the property is one of the most important. But it's not just taking into consideration their income. You have to look at all of their debt. So we use a debt to income ratio to determine whether or not that tenant can actually afford the property. A second mistake that landlords make is not keeping up on the rental market. A lot of landlords really don't want to be taking the time to be managing the property. They get a tenant in and they keep their rent artificially low so they don't have to take the time to release the property. Now that's a big mistake, because in our market right now, rents are increasing considerably. We're seeing 3 to 4% from year to year right now. And with new properties, it can be even higher percentage of increase. So not keeping up on the rental marketing and taking advantage of that increase in rents, you're losing out as a landlord and potential cash flow. A third is not taking into consideration Section 121 of the IRS code. Now that is the capital gains exclusion, where you can exclude up to $250,000 as a single owning your personal property, or up to $500,000 as a married couple. So the criteria, or one of the criteria with being able to take advantage of Section 121, is you had to live in the property 2 out of a 5-year period. So if you've lived in your property for 2 years, you can rent it out for, say, up to 3 years and still take advantage of Section 121. If you don't have any gain in the property, it's kind of a moot point. But it's a mistake that a lot of landlords make, because they may have some considerable capital gains in their house, and all of a sudden they've rented out their property for, say, 4 years, and oops, now they can't take advantage of Section 121. So if you'd like to hear more about some of the mistakes that landlords make and how to avoid them, please contact me.